Okay, hello all you crazy people out there. My name is Stupid, and welcome back to Angels of Scaly Wings. All right, it is world building time, I guess. I don't know exactly what to call this, but I'll call it world building because it's where I get to learn more about the characters in the world and stuff. Remy. All right, we're gonna figure out what's going on with you. Oh yes, that's right. You have a weirdly large living room with not much in it. Thank you again for helping me the other day. Without you, I would have been trapped sorting books for a few more hours. Inviting you over for dinner is the least I can do. Potato. Alright, I'm not gonna screw with him. It's no problem, really. I'm here to learn a bit more about your kind. Spending time in the library is only appropriate. Well, my gratitude is yours regardless. Alright, so we're already off to a better start than we were in the last, run. Anyway, is there anything in particular you would like to eat? Hey, do dragons even, like, you have, like, real big teeth that are designed for tearing up meat and stuff. Are humans vegetarians, or is that just you? Only some humans are vegetarian. I see. Like it for you, I don't want to assume anything, so I got us some meat-free steaks for the occasion. Alright. This might take a while, so make yourself at home. That was not something I was expecting to see in a dragon world, but why not? With those words, Remy walked into the partially walled-off kitchen. There was no door, so I saw him opening the fridge to take out two steaks before he set them on the counter. Soon after, he was already preparing the various ingredients with his somewhat clumsy paws. He was silent for a moment, and then he lifted his snout to looked at me from over the partition. What is it? I was just thinking about something. Look it up, cook if you like. Don't worry about it. Alright. I looked around the apartment as Remy cooked and couldn't help but notice the almost mesmerizing tidiness that permeated the place. Shelves were filled with books, scrolls, magazines, and other various trinkets. Suddenly, the repetitious noise of vegetables being cut ceased as Remy returned from the adjoining room. I'll be back in just a minute. He went down the hall and vanished through the bathroom door. What should I do? Yeah. Go into the bathroom. About that. Yeah, I can only see that going badly. Let's examine the shelves. I moved over I moved over to the shelves and idly looked through the books and scrolls. Nothing particularly interesting caught my eye. From the titles alone, it seemed all the genres were. Have I seen this before? I have not. This is new. Good. It seemed all the genres were more or less represented, fiction and non-fiction alike. The scrolls were neatly sorted into holders. The D at the front of that sentence should be capitalized, though I couldn't make out the logical consistency behind their arrangement. Anatomy, huh? Let's check that out. Okay. It's a skull. It looks like a shoulder socket or something. I'm not quite sure what I expected. Escape while I still can. Alright, let's just wait. I decided to pass the time by humming the theme of a game show. Looks like he's still not back. Wait. Okay, is this gonna put me in a loop? Okay, it's not gonna put me in a loop. Oh, the bathroom door opened and revealed the white dragon. As he approached, I felt my stomach rumble quietly. I barely heard the muffled sound, but when I saw Remy's ears perk, I realized he had more sensitive ears than I expected. Hungry already, I take it. Yeah. Screwing with his mind didn't really, go the way I wanted it to last time, so, I guess. It's pretty neutral. Although your stomach already answered that question for you. After entering the kitchen once more, I saw the dragon looked over the kitchen partition again. Verb tense. His mouth opened a little, as though he were going to speak, but his brow scrunched with hesitation. Before I could say anything, he shook his head and continued to cook. Soon I heard the sizzling of frying steaks and the delicious smell wafted into the room. Fueled by its fragrant odor, I lost myself to the daydream as I closed my eyes. Is something wrong? You are salivating. It's nothing. I was thinking about something. Well, the food is ready. Enjoy. The plate was already in front of me, piled with steak and vegetables. Remy was already eating, so I took the knife he provided and cut off a small corner of my steak. Then I pierced it with the fork, its 3 prongs penetrating the flesh unrelentingly. Which is a weirdly descriptive description of cutting steak. Slowly, I raised it to my mouth, and my tongue glided over its bare substance briefly as it entered my lips. I took the first bite. A delicate, crispy exterior with a much softer and juicier with a much softer and juicy inside. Why are we describing food with this much detail, seriously? It melted on my tongue like butter as the taste spread to even the remotest corner of my mouth. It was almost perfect. So what are you thinking about, huh? I'm thinking about, like, how weird it is to describe food with that many adjectives. The recent murders. Realistically, yeah. But scrolls. Which ones? The ones on anatomy. Well, I have a variety of books and scrolls covering all kinds of different subjects. I saw as much. You may have heard I have a degree in biology, which is one of the reasons I was given the honor of coming here in the first place. As such, your anatomy is of high interest to me. Wording! And one of the things I'm supposed to study. My anatomy? I'm not... Okay, good job, I think. I was talking about your kind in general, not you in particular. Oh. In that case, I might be able to find you something more comprehensive than a handful of scrolls. I'll greatly appreciate that, thank you. Okay. Other than that, like... Alright, seriously, this is a big-ish room for Remy living here by himself. I do, honestly, you are the first person to visit in a while. He spoke softly, and his gaze wandered. What about the pictures? There's a sprite there in front of that text. Was that something I learned in the first run? Is that one of those things that carries over? I saw those pictures on the coffee table, because I didn't do that this time. I thought you might have a family. Oh no, that's in the past. I'm not even sure why those photos are still there. And I don't actually have children. The picture of the young dragon was the product of a silly little program that combined photos. They take images of two people and create what the pair's offspring would supposedly look like. I've always wanted some children of my own, though. I see. How about you, stupid? Would you like to have children one day? No. I don't think that's something for me. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not for everyone. It must require a lot of hard work. Alright, so yes, getting down to the important parts about the murders. What a terrible thing. People can be so cruel sometimes. They can be. Where I come from, incidents like this are unfortunately fairly common. Truly, here it's almost unheard of. Or one just needs to take a look at the statistics to realize that it's very unusual. Or just an exceptionally bad week. Okay, so we're going to get to ask him everything. Why do you use a stove to cook? I mean, can you just use your fire? Well, for one, not all of us have that ability. I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Besides, we still appreciate the convenience that comes with appliances like this one, and not everyone wants to eat food cooked with someone else's breath. Not really, you just have to use it to start the fire, you don't need to... Breathing fire indoors is also a little unsafe. Okay, that's a valid point. That makes a lot of sense. How did you like the food? It was adequate. I would marry the steak if I could. Which is a little weird, but hey. The authors were clearly happy with the way it turned out, so I guess I will be too. Seeing how it's already half gone, I don't think this marriage would last particularly long. Soon, both of our plates are picked clean. I guess I judged your portion correctly, unless you want more. I'm good, thanks. That was interesting. What was that made of? Not sure exactly. It's probably some kind of vegetable blend. I see. What kind of meat is commonly eaten around here, anyway? Oryx. Are you familiar with that animal? That was a move that certain enemies in Xenoblade Chronicles could use that typically resulted in my death. I may have heard of Oryxen before. Oh wait, is that the one that, no, the one that Anna had set on fire in the last one was, like, Moflon or something, some kind of sheep. Alright. They're rather large, bovine mammals characterized by their horns and body shape. Again, large mammals, dinosaurs. We'll get a range of products from them, from meat to milk to subproducts like butter and cheese. Sir, have you been withholding cheese from me? Remy, we gotta talk about this. Cheese. I want cheese. Alright, moving on. In addition to leather, felt, oils, and creams, we even use their horns and bones for a variety of things. I'll go make a sandwich made of cheese or something after I finish this video or whatever. That sounds like an animal we have back at home. Speaking of unfamiliar creatures, why don't you tell me more about your species? I mean, he already called them bovine, so... I'm pretty sure he knows generally what, like, cows and bison and buffalo and whatever are. Are you referring to me or all of us? Our society is composed of a number of different species, which you have probably noticed by now. I guess all of you. Let's start with the basics. I'm sure you're aware, but unlike the mammalian oryx, we are reptiles. Though this makes me wonder about you. Based on your fur, I'd guess that you are a mammal, but you're very different from the mammals we know. Yes, we've, who is this? Lauren was talking about this a minute ago. In the same vein, you don't share many characteristics with our reptiles back home. And by the way, we don't have fur, but hair. There is a technical distinction that I cannot remember, and if I were to ask my biology major sister, she would probably give me a very long lecture about it, but... what's the difference? Fur has a set length while hair keeps growing. Yeah, sure. I guess. Let's go with that. Fur has a set length whereas hair will keep growing, so we regularly cut it. Is that so? Interesting. I was wondering something. Are you wearing all those coverings that make up for a lack of hair? Yeah, pretty much. I suppose that's one reason. They also provide warmth and protection and are used to differentiate us from one another. Sometimes uniforms are used as identification. I mean, he's wearing a tie, so... this should be a familiar enough concept to Remy. Other times, clothes are just ornamental. When a person wears, can tell us something about the person itself. Exhibit A. I wear t-shirts about 350 days a year. Which probably tells you something about me. That sounds complicated. We also have uniforms and wear some things for ornamental reasons, though ours usually aren't quite as extensive. That brings up an interesting question. Are you endo or exothermic? We produce our own body heat. I believe, fairly recently it was decided that dinosaurs are most likely either meso or endothermic, as opposed to just like snakes that need to sit in the sun all day in order to do anything. Which is interesting, because I had thought like endothermism evolved after dinosaurs, but I guess it's possibly been around for a little longer than that. We produce our own body heat. That is unusual. Where I come from, all reptiles are exothermic, unless you count birds as reptiles, I guess. But none of your reptiles are sentient, correct? Maybe it has something to do with our brain structures. I guess. It'd be pretty lame if your brain just, like, shut down if you were in the sun for too long or whatever. Now that you've been in our world for a while, how do you like it here? I like the people and the landscape. Your world is full of nerds, and I'm home in places that are full of nerds, like Magfest. But I do also like the landscape. It's pretty, innit? Oh, I just remembered. I was able to save my game after all. Your interference was only a minor setback. Would that change? Would that not be the case if I, like, was more mean to him? Would he tell me that the save game was evaporated or whatever? Alright, well, someone else can answer that in the comment, because I don't know if I'm going to go through the entire conversation path again just to find that out. Good job, Remy. Glad to hear it. I was quite relieved when I found out. You know, if that hadn't worked out so well, I would have had to consider making you play through to that point again for me. Yeah, video games. Is that so? Are we gonna have like a video game minigame in the store somewhere? I'd like to see what kinds of games you have here. So this is gonna be the gaming run between Lorem and Remy. I'll keep that in mind. Perhaps I can show you sometime. You know what? I'm glad you're here. So since you arrived in our world, we haven't really had the chance to sit down and talk. I agree. Yeah. Alright, that's easy. It's been a busy time for me, as you can imagine. Of course. Thanks for talking to me. Thanks for taking the time to pay me a visit. I always have so many things to take care of. It's hard for me to find time to do something simple like this. At least it worked out this time. You do have a point, though. I don't really know that much about you. I know where you work, but most of our conversations so far have revolved around things other than you and me. Why don't you tell me more about yourself? I don't really like talking about myself. Why not? Did your ears just go red in addition to your nose? I guess I wouldn't really know what to say. I'm not really that interesting. I don't believe you. There's also the uncertainty of not knowing how another person will react to something I say. I don't want to embarrass myself. Hey, at least you told me that. That's something. I suppose. Anyway, now that you see my apartment, I'm wondering what your home on the other side of the portal looks like. It's nothing special. Yours is prettier. Actually, everything here looks nice in comparison to back home. Is that so? In some ways, I'm not really looking forward to returning, but it's not like I have a choice in the matter. I suppose you could always visit if you wanted to. It wouldn't be that easy, I'm afraid. There was an extensive process involved for selecting who would go through the portal, and I was only one of many applicants. I'm surprised that I ended up being chosen. At least you're here now. Indeed. So what have you been up to since the last time I saw you? You mean since I went back to the kitchen to cook the steaks? Yeah. He gets it. Really? No. Oh, I believed you for a moment. Guess you got me there, stupid. With all the talking, I forgot about dessert. Screw being on a diet. Then I'll just have the right thing for you. I'll just be a minute. Okay, so are we gonna get to look around again? He neatly stacked our dishes before he took them into one of his 4 paws and went back to the kitchen using his other 3 limbs. I couldn't help but think that it seemed pretty awkward. When he returned balancing a plate with an attractive cake slice in a similar manner, I realized he would have to make multiple trips to carry everything to the table. Ask him if he needs help. Do you need any help with that? Don't worry about it, I can handle it. You're my guest after all. Once he placed the first cake slice on the table, he went back to fetch the other. And when he approached the table a second time, though, one of the tiny dessert forks started to slip off the plate. Remy reached for it with his forepaw in his attempt to save it, but lost balance without its support and fell over. Remy... What are you gonna do with yourself? In an instant, the place, the fork, and the cake slice flew through the air. The dish and silverware clattered as the pristine cake crumbled into a sad heap on the floor. For a few moments, there was silence as Remy and I looked at the result of his blunder. I'm so sorry, stupid. No. No. Don't. These answers suck. This isn't just about you and your cake. This always happens to me, no matter how hard I try. You have proper hands. So do some of the other species. How can someone like me even be a librarian? Not a day goes by without me dropping a scroll or unfurling it across the room. But the customers don't care or pity me too much to say anything. It's a common sight for them, after all. This is about Emra, isn't it? I guess it is. I just don't see why someone like me got to be a librarian when there are others more qualified for the position. Or who were at least capable of not dropping the inventory on a daily basis. She makes fun of you for it. I knew it. I mean, why else should we have you do all these tasks all the time? Sorting the books, carrying the things from one place to another. I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't work somewhere where my worth is only the entertainment I provide. Why don't you look for a new job? These positions have terms similar to those of the ministers. If I ended my employment prematurely, it wouldn't look great. How long do you have left? A while. Can you report her? Not really. I didn't think so, but it's worth asking. It's not like I could prove anything. Her public and private demeanor are 2 very different things, and it would be my word against hers. I just wanted to have a nice evening with you, and now it ended up like this. I shouldn't have brought that back up. Don't worry about it. I still think it was a nice evening. Maybe I should stop being such a sourpuss then. I can help you clean up. Thank you, stupid. Alright, so we salvaged that. We cleaned up together, and by the end, he seemed to be in higher spirits. Afterwards, we said our goodbyes, and I left, not sure what to think. What I think is that I will be meeting with Lorem in the next video. In the next part, Game Dev Talk. See what Lorem's been up to. For now, my name is Stupid. This has been Angels with Scaly Wings. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all later.